At your desk right now, you should have these notes that we started the other day in class, but we never got to the application problems. So today we're going to go through the application problems together through the video. You should be following along and stopping the video if you do not understand so that you can replay something. You should turn to this page of your notes. So make sure you're there, and if you're not, you can go ahead and stop the video to make sure. So see if you can try to fill this in. On the compass, if the direction of north is positive, north goes up in a positive direction, then the direction of south is going to be what? So go ahead and fill this in, and then you can check with me. So south is going down, so south means a negative direction. So if the direction of east is positive, so on the number line as you move to the right, it's in a positive direction. So then what do you think the direction of west is going to be? So if you look down at the bottom and we see the individual characters, we've got Marco. And if he's going to walk north, so he's going to move up, that's going to be in a positive direction. So go ahead and put a plus sign there so we know it's positive. So Susanna starts at the origin. Remember, the origin means right here in the center at 0. So origin means 0. And walks 19 miles south. So remember, south means down. So she's going to walk downwards in direction, so that would be a negative direction. So go ahead and put a negative sign there to remind you. So Barbie starts at the origin, again 0, and walks 21 miles west. So you decide if that's going to be a positive or a negative direction. So Barbie went west, so that would have been negative, and Jack went east, so that is positive. So without regard to the direction, meaning negative, positive, south, west, north, east, you want to see who walked the furthest. So we're not concerned about the direction, just how far they walk. So to do that, we are going to take the absolute value of all of the distances. So we've got the absolute value of 20, which is 20. We also have the absolute value of negative 19, because remember, south is negative, but the absolute value of that is still 19. Okay, Barbie went 21 miles west, so that's a negative direction. But when we take the absolute value of it, that distance is positive. Distance is always positive. The negative sign is just telling us the direction. Okay, so Jack's was positive 18 anyways for the direction, but his distance is positive. So we showed our work mathematically, which is what it asked us to do. And now our answer, though, is still Marco. He still walked the farthest. So if there are no questions, you can go ahead and move on, and if not, you need to pause it and revisit this page. So on this page, we see Marco's going to go 20 miles north. So the integer for that would be 20 miles, and it's going to be positive. Positive 20. Okay, if we want to find the distance, we're still going to take that absolute value because this was only telling us the direction above, and the absolute value of 20 is 20. So Susanna was 19 miles south, so that would be negative 19 as our direction. But we want to know the distance. So to do that, we have to take the absolute value of our direction. The absolute value of negative 19 is 19. So since this is the same as the previous slide, you can go ahead and fill in the bottom ones. And remember, this first integer is representing our direction, positive or negative. And the absolute value then is representing our distance once you take the absolute value. So make sure you have this written down and that you understand before you move on. And if not, you need to stop this and revisit the page. Another application deals with velocity. So velocity is the speed and the direction. So speed, miles per hour is an example. Feet per second is another example. Okay, if you're kicking a field goal in a football game, if you're driving a car, those are all a velocity and a speed. Okay, so velocity is speed and the direction, which we talked about direction being positive or negative, or east or west, up or down. So to find the speed of the object, speed is always positive. So let's make a note of that. Just like direction is always positive, speed is positive. I'm sorry, I just said direction is always positive. That's not true. Speed is positive, distance is positive, not direction. So make sure you have this written down. You can go ahead and stop the video to make sure. So an example, we have a space shuttle. Okay, when it goes up in the air, it has a launch pad that also drops at the same time. So if it's dropping, that means our direction is going to be positive or negative. You decide. Okay, if it's dropping, it's going down, so it's a negative. Okay, when we see the 10 feet per second, well, this is a speed. So we need to figure out our velocity. Velocity being the direction, up or down, and the speed, which is always positive. So our velocity is negative because it was dropping. And we've got it at 10 feet per second. So that's our velocity. It's telling us our direction. However, the speed is always positive. So let's make a little note of that. Speed is always positive, so we need to show that mathematically. Okay, so to do that, we need to take the absolute value of our velocity. So the absolute value of negative 10 is 10. So speed is positive no matter what, so we have to show that. But velocity can be positive or negative because it's going to show our direction. So if there's any questions, you need to make sure you stop the video and go back and revisit this. And everybody must have this written down. Make little notes of questions that you need to ask when I get back. Okay. If you're finished with this, you will now either go get from Station 1 a handout to do 2 practice problems on this, or Mrs. Etter or the substitute will pass it out for you to complete. So you'll have about 5 minutes to do so, and then we'll move on to the next video.